And I think we're going to be able to try and check in with one of the drivers there. We're hearing some comms.
And of course the leaders gap is coming right down because they are still full course yellow behind the safety car. I just saw a Chipped Foose logo. Didn't know he was involved. Well, the lake is getting bigger, isn't it? I mean, one of the things that a lot of people say about the Rolex 24 is the grandstands are empty. Yes, because everybody comes and camps in the infield.
50,000 people on the infield. I've been there.
And they've all got foot rot and trench foot, haven't they? Because
well, you saw how much rubbish and
so
wetness there was.
Yeah, absolutely.
When the cars were off.
And talking of which, notice all the cars are going around trying to cool the tyres. This is the Action Express car. Joao Barbosa, Terry Porcello, Ryan Tiella.
And it's Joao Barbosa who started that car. This is an offshoot of Brumos Racing. Joao Barbosa. Now this is a Porsche engine, Riley, but look at that. That's a V8 engine, not a flat 6 engine.
It's a Cayenne road car engine developed. Brian Till in the background there.
Private money developing that as well, Martin.
Now, whatever ails it, it is not about the steering. That much we can be fairly certain. Now, again, see, they're talking to the driver. Now, this suggests to me one or two things. First of all, gear selection. There's a man there with a big lever, which is tantamount only to going for the lump hammer, or possibly they've got a charging problem of some kind. Now, rebuilding the right rear corner, I think is only sensible. When tyres go, it's like a chain flail whipping around in there. It'll rip off fuel lines, oil lines, suspension parts, the brake rotor. That's a new one going on, but
no, I don't think it is.
No, that's brand new. That's unheat cycled. Is that Regis in the background taking photos? I rather think it might be. So they're going to do a lot of rebuilding. Bodywork, the floor.
Expansion tanks at the back there. There's all kind of the oil pressure.
It's like setting off a small bomb there, and it all has to be in one piece. At the speeds they do on the banking here for the next 22.5 hours, it has to be in one piece, or it'll tear itself apart, or float the car up into the air, which you don't want either.
Action on Lake Lloyd, which has hosted speedboat races. The lake created when they dug out the soil to build up the 31-degree banking. We'll be back at Daytona for more action shortly here on Eurosport.
Coverage of the Rolex 24 at Daytona. GT cars on pit road now as the full course yellow continues, and the number 23 Racers Group machine pulling up to a halt. Alex Job car rather. So again taking service, and we saw a lot of the cars earlier on also having radiator grills and cooling grills. I saw Alex Job just leaning over looking into the back of the car there from the pit wall to make sure that debris from the course, bits of grass and mud, is not going to affect them in terms of cooling, because even in these cool conditions the cars need that cooling airflow. The 71 Racers Group car, good strong lineup in this one. Timo Bernhardt, Romain Dumas, Bobby Labonte, Spencer Pompelli and Tim George Jr. Of the five, then he is the one that least fans will know about, but the others, no question at all, very strong driver lineup.
Now, just noticed there, Martin, that one or two of those cars we saw were definitely going to slick Pirelli rubber, so the conditions certainly getting better. It was only 69 degrees Fahrenheit, around about 20 degrees centigrade when the race started. That's probably as warm as it's been for the cars, because they've had terrible conditions in the row before the Rolex. The test weekend, it literally snowed in this part of Florida, which is so unusual. There was some great pictures of snowmen at the exit of pit lane, etc. And, well, I just wonder now if we will effectively see the restart of the race here being the start of the race proper.
Well, there seems to be no significant reason why we're still under caution, and this may be, you're right, race directors going with a racing caution to allow everybody now, if they want to make a second stop, to change onto slick tyres. There might be a few cars that might want to leave it another couple of laps, and you'll probably see that more in the GTs, but when you've got, you know, two full factory drivers on your Porsche squad, as guys like Alex Job and TRG and so on have got, then, you know, those guys can race on anything. The two car goes back out, and I would thought will likely return relatively quickly, probably after one lap, just to make sure that everything feels a-okay. Looks like they're not going to try and replace the side of the bodywork there.
It goes too far on the laps, and it might have caused some collateral damage. I haven't heard from the guys what exactly happened so far, and you know, we did the best we could, and we'll see what we can do.
Let's back out there, and we've got green flag coming. That's what it's all about, just making those repairs as quickly and as effectively as possible and try and minimize the laps lost.
Well, the key is that they got that rear bodywork tied down, because at speed that could take off on you, so that's the most important thing, Doss.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it was the miles on that tire that caused the problem. I really suspect more a puncture than the amount of laps.
How do you like the sound of this? Dixon, Angelelli, Gidley, Gurney, Zonta, all the big names are at the front of the field as we go back racing.
It's Christophe Bouchou there in that black level.
Just a taste of the Stiffmeister, and there we go. Scott Dixon leaving the field. Yeah, absolutely. Lee Tiffey, the lead announcer, Dorsey Schroeder and Calvin Fish up in the booth. And yet again, John, all close together. And again, this is where cautions are bred, because they are all so close. Look at that going around the outside. Again, the Krone Lola really exploiting the grip. Now, if they are all on slick tyres, we will see a little bit of twitchy handling out on the banking. But certainly the Lola, and particularly leader Scott Dixon, picking the car up by the scruff of the neck. He had a 2.5 second lead before the caution. What is it now? It's a second at least, 3 corners in. Max Angelelli is second in the silver car, and in third place Mimo Gidley. And we were seeing the McDonald's car, we were seeing the 55 car rather. It's shown as Scott Tucker, but we believe that is Christophe Bouchou with a huge tail slide. Well, Bouchou certainly, yes,
it is Bouchou. Thank you. Timing and scoring is wrong if you're watching on the website. Behind him, he's got Ricardo Zonta and Alex Gurney. Zonta, it is, I think, he's on his tailpipes at the moment. Earlier on as well, I think I did mention there's only one Corvette in the race. I'm terribly sorry. I've just seen it going, the second one going to the pits. So my apologies. There is a white one there as well.
There is still only one on the racetrack.
Yes,
half right.
Okay.
Ricardo Zonta, incidentally, for those of you bellowing at the screen, Klaus Ludwig was his joint championship-winning teammate in the McLaren CLK GTR1 or some such. Thank you very much, Andrew Cotton. Yes, Mercedes. I should have taken the McLaren word out. There is Robin Liddell in the Camaro. As you say, it is a tube frame car, rebodied from being a Pontiac, which of course doesn't exist anymore, to being a Chevrolet, which does.
Now, and that's quite important, because we've obviously lost the Chevrolet or the Pontiac engines for the DPs as well, which have changed to Chevy, and Robin is leading that class at the moment. We've also lost, by the way, the Lexus engines from last year, and no Penske either. Again, one or two of you asking us via the various media and forums on the Midweek Motorsport Listeners Collective there, where's Penske? No Penske in Grand Am at all this year. They've spread out their sports car team throughout the rest of their large empire, and Robin is doing a cracking job. That is a tube frame car, as Martin said, so that was the Pontiac GTO last year. There's Brian Till down in the pit lane. Let's hear from the team now.
It was not for just one but 4 cars this year out of that stable. Seems to be working well right now.
Yeah, we kind of figured we got a really good driver lineup, and we thought, all right, by the time it shovels through, we might be in the lead maybe hour 6. We never expected hour 1, but I mean, you remember Montreal, Robin Liddell never even puts rain tires on and beats everybody in the rain. So, we got the best rain driver out there. We got a good car. And I can't say enough about this team. To go from 1 car to 4 is unbelievable. We had 2 top 10s in the GS yesterday with a debut. And I'm just so lucky to be surrounded by such good people on this team. It really makes my job easier, even though I've been kind of in a daze for the last 3 days. But no, so far so good. But, I think once it dries out, we'll see where it is.
Well, I was going to say, in this type of condition, you guys knew it was going to rain. How much of a compromise do you put on the car setup-wise, because you know you're going to be driving in both type conditions?